Good morning, everybody. Another episode of the Keep Going podcast, athletes shining a light on mental health. Got Big Dave out here in Ireland still. This guy might never come home. What's up, Dave?
Oh, nothing much. I'm doing good, Pat. Yep, still out here in Ireland exploring. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm really good, man. We got Bryce Carlson obviously in the building. Bryce, I'm gonna be honest with you, a couple of things. One, I'm gonna throw the X up right away, first and foremost.
Yeah.
Second thing, I haven't seen social media react like this in a long time for a Keep Going podcast episode, man. Tell the people why you decided to jump on today.
Yeah, I think for me, I mean, a lot of people especially know that I have 365 Unlimited, a sports podcast in general that Gannon and myself have been doing since 2020. And a lot of people have reacted to that. They understand, they know my story that I've gone through mental health struggles, depression, anxiety, as an athlete, as a coach, as a teacher, and just as a human being in general. And I think just seeing my friends and my people react that way and show support that I'm going to be hopping on this show means a lot to me. They know my story and they know that um, it's meaningful and that it can impact and help change someone's life.
No, I completely agree. And I think anytime you see that reaction to a guest or, any guest we have in general, it's inspiring, man. You've had homies for the last 6, 7 days sharing the stories and
Mhm.
commenting, and that's got to make you feel pretty good. I would say this: talk about how 365 Unlimited got started, man. I mean, you guys got started well before us. Talk about the beginning, and obviously we've had Gannon on, who I absolutely love. So talk
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah, so we kind of it's funny because Gannon was in we were both in college at the time, and Gannon had a he had a sports assignment, a podcast, or some recording that he had to do for class in college, and he hit me up. We had been talking a ton with him playing baseball and me being at Whitewater, just kind of far away from each other, hopping on FaceTime from time to time. And he just hit me up one day and he said, "Hey, let's record this podcast." So we did a little episode on the TV show All American, kind of just laid up, and we just got to talking. And from that point on, I was like, you know what? Like I had just got to Whitewater and decided not to continue my baseball career there, but I wanted to stay in the sports world. And I'll never forget it, but I had a phone call with my parents and they pretty much told me they're like, hey, if you're gonna be at college, at a university away from home, and you're not gonna play baseball, like you need to find something to do with your time and stay busy, whether it's a job, whether it's something that keeps you busy. And for me, that's no other way that can keep me busy is being in the sports world. So there was one night I was just doing some football research, and football's always been my passion and sports in general, really. But
Yeah.
and ended up giving Gannon a phone call. And I said, "Hey, I said, how do you feel about this? Like, you like this idea, these ideas?" And from that point on, we found this app called Anchor, which is now Spotify for podcasters. It's funny how all those things have changed in 5 years
Yes.
that we've been
Yes.
doing it. But um, gave him a call. I said, "Hey, like, what do you think of this? Let's hop on a little podcast, do an audio recording." And I'll be honest, man, like the first couple episodes were terrible. Like we go back and we listen to them, and I'm like, "What were we doing?" But I mean, I think that's all part of the process, and seeing the beginning of it and to where we are now and how our voices have changed, how we talk about certain topics, just being able to explain thoroughly. And I mean, we went from originally starting this thing in 2020 and taking 2 pages of notes and having different ideas jotted down, and now we hop on a podcast and it's all just off the head, and it goes a lot smoother, and we've just found things that work better for us. But overall, 365, I think it started as a passion project and kind of turned into something where we realized we can make an impact for our community and try and create some positive change.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I think it's awesome to see what you guys have done over the last 5 years. Obviously, I coached Gannon back in the day. Gannon's been on
Yeah.
the pod. If you haven't checked out his episode, just a fantastic human being. I just look back at when we started with Luke and Jackie and everyone that's been a part of this, and obviously Dave, of course, still with me. It's like we were awful in the beginning too. Like we had to
Mhm.
figure that kind of stuff out. And I think me and Dave are at our best. Like you just heard me 5 minutes ago. I'm at a BP gas station in McChesney Park. I said, Dave, let's go. And we fired this thing up. Dave, go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you learn along the way. You
Mhm.
get better. Talk a little bit about making that decision to go into something new that someone maybe out there is kind of uncertain or anxious about making a decision. How do you go about making a decision like that to start your own podcast?
No, I think that's a fantastic question because I think it applies to anything in life, really. Like we all have some sort of anxiety when it comes to something new, when it comes to a form of change, when it comes to breaking our routine and doing something that makes us uncomfortable. And I think for me it was I would have never thought that I'd be recording a podcast or hopping on and learning more about content creation and all the things within the social media world. And for me, I kind of just sat there with myself and realized, like if I don't have a passion and I don't feel like I have a purpose right now, like I have to be uncomfortable with that and I have to realize that, these next steps are going to make me really feel a ton of anxieties, a ton of stress. But if I just take that jump, then I know that that uncomfortableness within myself will help me grow. And I think that was something that kind of really stuck out to me when we started the podcast was just having that understanding that it wasn't going to be good. It wasn't going to be great right away. And I think for anyone out there that has a dream, that has something that they're nervous to start, you have to just understand that as simple as it sounds, you just have to do it. And I gave this example at our 365 live event that we did a couple years back in the summertime. I said like whether you like your 9 to 5 or not, like you have to just jump off the ship. Like you got to jump ship and you got to understand that there's going to be things in life that bother you. There's going to be things in life that are hard to do. But the more you have that willingness to be uncomfortable and allow yourself to just process and do things, then I think that's when you start to actually notice growth within yourself. And I realized with the podcast and everything that I've done in life, being 24 years old now, is if I don't have some sort of uncomfortableness in my life, then I'm not growing. I'm remaining stagnant. I'm sitting exactly where I am, whether that's mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally. So the more I kind of understood that, the more I realized, like people are gonna judge you no matter what you do in life. People are gonna react a certain way, talk about you a certain way. So if you just kind of block all that noise out and understand that you can do anything you want to in this life, then more and more things become attainable.
Yeah, man. And I could just tell not only your growth, but I could also tell what it means to your community and the people around you.
Hmm.
From a growth mindset perspective, I know in the beginning you talked about your struggles,
Yeah.
anxiety, depression. Talk about that and how'd you kind of get to where you're at now? Because like you sit here at 24 speaking a lot better than a lot of our older guests that come on. So like talk about your growth and how we got to this point.
Yeah, so I mean, my willingness to share, I mean, has always been something that my friends notice, my family notice about me is I'm pretty open about it, pretty open about the anxiety and depression aspect of my life because I feel like if I'm not able to talk about it and I'm not able to open up in a way and be vulnerable, then I can't truly help someone else. And that's the whole purpose of my brand, the whole purpose of me as an individual, I feel like. And so it kind of all started back in like 2019. Um, had just graduated high school in 2018. And I like my friends had always kind of joked like I'd get anxious about certain situations or certain things in life in general. So they'd make a joke and be like, "Why are you anxious?" And like in 2018 as a high school kid, like I never kind of understood what anxiety was. To me, it was kind of like, yeah, I'm worked up about something. I'm stressed out. But 2019 rolled around. I had committed to play baseball, stay in my hometown in Freeport, play at Highland Community College, and I just remember high school wrapped up. That whole summer just felt like a blur to me. Like it was a lot of goodbyes to my friends. It was a lot of see you laters, people going off to college. And me being that one or two kids from my high school class that were staying back home. And I've always been an open and social person, but kind of with everything that I already knew with that all going away, for me it was kind of like, here comes change. And it's the first time in my life I've had to ever really break that routine of the structure that I had, the friends I had, the people that were around me. So the more that change crept up, like I just remember the inevitable was coming, school was going to start and that daily routine was going to have to change. And I'll never forget it. There was a fall baseball. We do the travel in the fall and go to different places. I believe we were going to Mississippi at the time for kind of like a fall tournament, couple games that we were going to play with Highland. And we're on the way there. It's like a 13-hour bus ride, and I hadn't really talked to anybody about my anxiety or what was going on. And I gave my mom a phone call on the bus, and I was pretty nervous about it, because there's people around. You got your teammates right there, and you're trying to be quiet so people don't really hear you. And I just remember being on the phone, and I kind of like broke down for a minute, and I'm like, Mom, I don't know why I feel this way. Like I'm just sad. I'm upset. And why should I feel this way when I'm on a 13-hour bus ride to go play baseball with my boys? And like there was no reason to feel that way. And so my brain didn't understand why I was feeling that way. I couldn't comprehend it. So I remember her just being like, get through this trip. When you get back, we'll have a real conversation. And when I got back, I sat down with my parents and just broke down and just kept it real with them and said, like, I don't understand what's going on in my head. I don't know what these feelings are. And there was not really a true reason behind it as to why I felt the way I felt, but and what I felt was just kind of like a sense of emptiness, kind of, the loneliness, the emptiness, thoughts racing, and in general, kind of just felt like I wasn't even present, like I wasn't there, it felt like my body was there, but my mind was never where I was at. And the more research I've done on it and looked at it, and been to the doctor and did all those things, like I kind of had a sense of derealization, and felt like you're living but not really living. And um so I visited the doctor, had those conversations, found a medication that worked for me. And from that point on, I kind of just realized I have to be open with people. I have to express my emotions, my feelings. Um, and whether those are uncomfortable conversations, as long as I have the right people in my life that, are willing to sit and listen. I think that's my biggest piece of advice to anyone that is going through struggle is don't just sit there and talk to some random person if they're not going to truly listen. And it's important to talk to somebody, whether it's a family member, friend, and if it is a random person, that's fine, but just make sure that they're truly listening to you. You don't want to have someone where you're sitting there talking and they just want to talk back and tell you to do this, tell you to do that, right? Like you can only truly help yourself when you make that decision. Um,
Yeah, yeah, I agree. And Bryce, I'm gonna go to Dave, but I think the big two things I talk about with this stigma all the time are things that don't get talked about.
yeah,
One, what if you go to somebody and they don't listen? Like, what if you go to somebody and it's not the right person? You know,
yeah,
like I think that's hard when everybody on this podcast and a lot of people in the mental health world go talk to somebody. It doesn't mean that everybody's going to be your right person. Keep going until you figure that out. That
yeah,
is first thing. Second thing, it's not a weakness.
no,
You talk about being on the bus and being back there with your boys who are supposed to be your guys, right? Like
yeah,
I coached Dave in college. Dave's a Rock Valley guy. I'm a Rock Valley guy. We know Highland. We know kind of what the cloth is cut from.
hmm,
What I will tell you is like you're supposed to feel that way, and you're feeling weak. You're feeling like you shouldn't be making that phone call. I would encourage people to go like, hey, look at your boy and go, hey, I gotta call my mom right now. This is a big thing. So just I appreciate you sharing that. I understand the perspective. I'm glad to hear you're kind of on the other side of it. Now, Dave, go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's okay to feel that way. If anyone is going out there, and it's okay to kind of just um, get away and go like internal a little bit more
Yeah.
than external because it's really hard for like myself even like it can be hard to talk to someone, but just just get out of your comfort zone, like you said, and do it. Is there anything that you focus on, your thoughts, or move your body, work out, anything else other than talking to someone that can help that helps your anxiety or depression?
yeah, 1000%. I think so. On top of that, like after the doctor visits and everything, like I lined up and started going to therapy. So I think That's another thing for athletes and people in general to understand. Like therapy is another form, another outlet. Yes, it includes talking and expressing yourself, but shoot, I found myself as soon as I started therapy, you have a conversation and you might feel uncomfortable at first, but then all of a sudden you find yourself just spilling everything out and you don't even realize why you're doing it, but you're doing it. Um, Outside of expressing yourself and talking about those things, I do think, working out is a massive thing. If you're able to get yourself in the gym, if you're able to, weight train, if you're able to go on a walk around the park, like simple things, like it could be doing 50 push-ups in your living room, like just getting your body up and moving will help that mental aspect within your brain. Another thing too, I think is huge that people don't think about a lot, and I still do a bad job of it as well, but sleep. If you're getting good sleep and you're getting your full 8 hours or you're getting a little bit more than that, sleep will 1000% help your mental as well. Your diet, if you're eating the right foods, if you're eating fast food all the time when your mind isn't right, that's just going to continue to spiral. So all those things, sleep, diet, hygiene, all of those things, if you can get those right, I think you will start to notice some sort of change within your mental health. And I think sleep was the biggest thing for me that I had to recognize when I was going through the things I was going through is, I'm sleeping 3, 4 hours at night and then getting up and going about my whole school day and then going to practice, till 6, getting home at 7, not having dinner till 8, and then, sleeping for another 3, 4 hours and getting back at it. And that's just never going to be good for your mental health. So I think if people can understand that it isn't just, expressing your feelings and emotions and talking about those things, but internally you have to kind of take a look at yourself in the mirror and find a way what else you can do. But my number one piece of advice would be, get your body up and moving. As hard as it is to get out of bed, get off the couch, and watching your favorite Netflix show, the more you're able to get up and get your body active, you're going to start to feel a little better.
Yeah, I agree. I make I don't know, the quote or say the quote all the time. It's like a lot of things in life, if you look at them deeper, like when you're having an issue, when you're not feeling well, you're probably one of three things or all three. You're either hungry, tired, or controlling something that you can't control.
Yeah.
And when you really think of it that simply, it's like, damn, I've been doing this for years. I'm sitting here like, wow. Like last night, I'm looking at Ashton. I'm like, I'm crabby because I'm just hungry. Like we've been
Hmm.
going all day. Like it's just things like that, man. And I think getting to the root of those triggers, no matter what they are, man, like you just described, I think is huge. I also have to ask you though, obviously the preface, I should say, of our podcast is that keep going moment.
Yep.
What's your keep going moment? Have we talked about it already? If we have, expand on it. If not, just let us know. What's your KG moment?
Yeah, I think in general, I want to expand on what you just said right there, and it's control what you can't control, and like that is my number one thing that I always continue to tell myself, tell my friends, tell my people in general is you're gonna have those moments where whether it's you got a final exam that you're stressed about, or you got a relationship in your life that you're stressed about, and there's certain aspects that you can't control. You have to just find a way to only hang your hat on the fact that you can control what you can control. You can't allow that to impact your mental. So I always just say, control the controllables, and once you do that, you've done your part. But for me, I think my keep going moment and my keep going mantra within my head is just do it for my family and friends. I think those people in my life that rely on me, that want to see me succeed, and and I think I internally I put a lot of pressure on myself to live up to the expectation that I've set for myself and that standard to show my family and friends and the people within my life that I can be successful and create change and leave a positive impact. And do I let that get to me sometimes when I feel like I'm not living up to that standard? For sure. But I think that's anything in life when you want to be successful. So to anyone out there, I think if you don't have anyone that you're doing it for, do it for yourself. And that's a keep going moment right there is if you can wake up every day, look yourself in the mirror and understand that you're getting 1% better, there's nothing else you can do. And I think people just got to recognize that, understand that, and keep battling through life. There's going to be ups and downs, 1000%. But if you can get 1% better each day, then you're on the right track.
Yeah, Dave, that's an all timer. Look yourself in the mirror and do it for you. I think that's extremely powerful. And we talk about on this podcast, not everybody's got a Dave Mitchell in their life, right? Or a Bryce Carlson, or I'd like to think myself. In the meantime, if you get yourself right, you're going to be attracted to. And I don't just mean in the world of women in our sake, right?
Yeah.
Or like family and close friends. I mean, like people are going to draw to you. Bryce, when you decide to come on, man, we put the promo out Wednesday. People are drawn to you. And that's a compliment to everything that you've done at 24 years old to come on this podcast and be vulnerable and be accountable and share your mistakes. And the quote I've been saying for the last 2 weeks now, I'm not going to ask somebody what to do on the way there. I'm going to ask them what to do on the way back because I know they've already been through it. And I think it's powerful that at 24, you've lived this lifestyle where it's like, okay, I've made some mistakes. Let me share those with people and just extremely vulnerable and extremely accountable. I appreciate it. Dave, go ahead.
Yeah, I love that. Find a why um, in everything that you do. Just a little purpose can go a very far way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Even if it's just like, okay, I just want to make one person smile today. Do it.
Yep.
Completely agree.
It's all about impacting other people and finding some peace and purpose, which isn't easy for to say or to do.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. And Dave, I'm going to let you rip some questions at Bryce. I know we're all sports guys, so I got a couple in mind, but I'm going to let you go first, Dave. Let it rip.
Yeah. Do you have any advice for anyone that is starting their college career, going into their freshman year?
Yeah, I think right away, like obviously that was the scariest time of my life for me, and I was still in my hometown. So anyone that is, about to pack up and, whoever's playing, college football or fall sports, like they got a pretty short summer. So, me, I'm actually a high school junior high teacher, so I see these athletes that have committed to go play sports, and you see the anxieties that they have, the excitement, the anxiousness, the stress, like how's it going to work out for me? Am I going to get playing time? Is this the right fit for me? Am I going to the right area? I think yes, it's important to ask yourself as an athlete all of those questions and understand if the place you're going to is the right fit. But I also think you're allowed to make mistakes at the age at 17 and 18 years old, man. Like I still feel young at 24, but 17 and 18, you're gonna make mistakes, and I think that's my number one thing is as an athlete, as an incoming freshman to a college team, whatever sport it is, understand that it's okay to make those mistakes. If you get to campus and your first couple practices you mess up and you feel like you already lost it, like there's no shot you're going to be able to get some playing time or make it last, or this doesn't feel like the right fit. My number one thing would be allow yourself to make mistakes, and give yourself some time too, because those first couple months they're going to be hard, and yes, sometimes the transition's easier for other people, but understand that if you give yourself time, and you allow yourself to make mistakes, then I think you'll find that college sports are very rewarding, and you'll find a lot of value in the friendships that you make, the memories you establish, and kind of the lifestyle you get to live for those 4 years.
Fantastic answer, man. Fantastic answer. Next one. I've only asked this a couple times on this podcast, and it's got to be the right guest. We talk about small town USA. We talk
Hmm.
about small town living. I'm gonna be honest with you, Bryce. I dominated your area in recruiting because I loved athletes that had that chip, right?
Yeah.
They had the elite chip, is what I call it, man. We go out there and we see one. I got to shout out one guy who's been on this podcast who I think of every time I talk about this. Cole Ludeking is a
Yep.
prime example. Ludi is a guy where I came out and I watched him play, and I said, you know what? This kid's cocky, but I can tell he's got that chip. What makes a small town athlete so great? And how does a small town kid get out of that small town and go play in college?
Yeah, I think that's a great question because I don't think growing up that us athletes ever had the right answer for that. I think we all kind of, that chip on our shoulder kind of was created in the understanding that, shoot, there might not be many people that come watch us play. But I think if we choose to, uh, put 100% into practice, put 100% into the weight room, put 100% into our games, and just realize, the right people will recognize you. And I think as a small town athlete and all of those things, like you have to recognize that if you do your part, um, and that might not just be on the field or the court, like you got to send emails, you got to reach out to coaches. And I say send emails nowadays, it's just, shooting a DM on Twitter, but it's a little different than what it was for me back in high school. But
Yep.
as a small town athlete, that chip on your shoulder, I think it really comes from just your daily grind of waking up and understanding how much you love the sport that you're ingrained in. And I think you do it for your teammates and your classmates and your family and friends as well. And it's just true love of the game. I really think, and the years that go by now, I think we see a lot less and less of true athletes that love the sport now, especially at a younger age. Um, back then I remember growing up and it was, we're riding our bikes outside, we're playing basketball all day, we're making a little baseball field in the backyard and we're gonna play all day, until the street lights come on and you hear that whistle from your parents or that scream from your parents to come inside. You don't get much of that anymore. And I think
Yeah.
that's what athletes nowadays need to understand. If you want to create that chip on your shoulder and get a little bit cocky with the sport you play and um, feel that confidence, you got to truly, build it up on your own and work throughout the week and get up and get outside because nowadays it's a lot of video games. It's a lot of go outside for 20 minutes and come back inside, because you're hot or you're sweating or you're cold. No, enjoy the outdoors as a young kid. And that's where I think you truly find your passion for the game. For any game that you're playing growing up is just getting up and getting outside, trying new things, and just enjoying the life that was created for you.
Yeah, man. What's the Friday Night Lights quote, man? Like you and your boys, you look at each other and know that you gave everything you had. I think
Yeah.
it's all earned, man. Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, for sure. Get up, get out, put in the work, trust your preparation, and believe it will all work out.
Hmm.
Um, Last question. Is there anything that we missed here that you would like to share? Um, yeah, platform's all yours.
No, I appreciate it. I honestly, I don't think you guys missed anything. I think the questions were fantastic. I love what you both do, and I think that's part of the reason why I wanted to come on here and kind of, have the opportunity to share my story and talk about mental health. But I just think overall, the ability to, be someone that someone else looks up to, is important. And for me, as a 24-year-old teacher, coach, um, I honestly, thinking about that statement right there, I hate labels and labeling myself as a teacher, as a coach, that's fine because that's my occupation, that's what I do for a job, but I think anyone in life, you need to understand that no matter the job you have or what you do, like that's not necessarily who you have to be. You can still be someone outside of your job. You can still be someone outside of a certain friendship. You can still be someone outside of, 365 Unlimited. Like I am my own human being. I have things that I like, things that I enjoy, things that I don't enjoy. And sometimes the best medicine for me is just kicking it with friends. And I think people need to understand that no matter what you're going through in life, there is going to be a bounce back day and there is going to be a bounce back moment. And my favorite quote that I've heard lately is it's not a bad day. It's just a bad day. It's not a bad life. And I think if you can recognize that and continue to live, then your heart will shine bright. And just my number one thing, and I've said number one a ton, but just be kind. And if you can be kind to one person, you'll create a ripple effect, where that kindness goes a long way. It makes someone smile, they smile, so they make someone else smile. Just be that domino effect of kindness. Be humble. Continue to chase what you want in life because anything's possible.
Bryce Carlson, man, this has been a wealth of knowledge, man. Um, Knowing you and knowing your circle, I'm never surprised by that.
Hmm.
But the bar was very high today, and you hit it out of the park, man. I will tell you, as life goes on here, I'm 30 years old. If this is you at 24, man, I look forward to following you as a coach, you know, as someone that is a mentor, as someone that plays a huge role in your community. Keep doing what you're doing, man, because I believe in what you guys are doing. I think it's amazing that not only that you guys started that platform and you're still rolling, but the relationship that you have with Gannon and everybody that your circle is about, man. It's inspiring for guys like us because we're going on year 2. We love this. I love Dave. I've known Dave for a long time, but it's inspiring. And thank you for helping pave the way for what we're looking to do, man.
Man, I appreciate it, and thank you for the opportunity. And I look forward to continue to watch you guys grow. And if there's anything else you guys ever need, 1000%, I'll be there. And always, my DMs are always open for anyone and everyone that needs to reach out, whether you're going through something or not. I'll be in here to listen.
Bryce, I love you for that, man. And get those Oregon boys in the end zone. We'll have a lot of fun, man. I'm not
Got
too
to.
worried about that, bro. Well, hey, God bless you, brother. Dave, have a great time the rest of your trip. Safe travels. And boys, above all else, keep going. We'll talk to you boys soon.